Alright, so in the previous part of the video, I took a very personal approach to what the mind is. And in this part of the video, I want to shift your understanding from mind being personal or emergent, as being emergent from the brain, to mind being preeminent or prior to the brain, or prior to anyone or anything. So according to the prevailing theory of mind, according to science, once upon a time there was the Big Bang, and the Big Bang gave rise to everything in creation. The Big Bang gave rise to particles of matter we call atoms and subatomic particles, and these particles coalesce to form larger objects like rocks and comets and asteroids, and these coalesce further to form even larger objects like planets and stars and moons. And on a planet like the Earth, biological life evolved that developed a brain, and from this brain came mind. From this brain came experience, what it's like to be you and me, conscious beings. So the current prevailing theory is that science goes along with this understanding that it is in fact the brain giving rise to mind. This is known as materialism. Now, science cannot explain how is it that the brain is giving rise to mind. This is called the hard problem of consciousness. Science cannot explain how is it that it seems like you're so alive that you have your mind with your emotions and feelings, which is separate from my emotions and feelings. That I can tell the difference between the color red and green, or the taste of coffee or ice cream. How is it that the brain is producing this rich experience? The brain is made up of the same stuff, the same ingredients as the planet. But yet, this brain is producing aliveness, consciousness. How is that possible? But what if this is the wrong assumption? So rather than saying that all of our billions of brains, both human and animal, gives rise to mind, gives rise to consciousness, what if it's the other way around? What if it starts off with mind, and the brain or matter emerges from mind? This is an alternative understanding of mind as not being emergent from the brain, but being prior to the brain. This is known as idealism. So materialism says mind emerges from the brain, that matter comes first. But idealism says no. Hold on a second. It starts with mind, and matter emerges from mind. You have to be conscious first to even know that you have a brain, or to know anything in your environment. You have to be conscious first. Now notice when I say that mind is prior to the brain, I am no longer personalizing mind. I'm no longer saying that mind emerges from the brain. I'm giving mind primary importance. I'm saying that mind is prior to anything or anyone, prior to matter, prior to creation. So in that sense, you can call this mind the larger mind, the transpersonal mind, the source mind. In science, perhaps they call it the quantum field or the field. And one way to think of what this larger mind is to look at your own dreams. When you go to bed at night and you have a dream, and you're immersed in this dream environment, you're going along with the dream story. The dream seems so real from your perspective, right? And let's say someone in the dream were to ask you, where's your brain? And you might say, oh, my brain is in my head, right? And you're referring to your dream avatar right? And you say your brain is in that dream avatar. You don't know it's a dream. So in that sense, you are taking a very materialistic perspective whilst you are in the dream. It's only when you wake up and realize that it was all a dream. Not only was your dream avatar a dreamed up character, but the entire dream environment, the dream story, all the people in dreams in your dream were all dreamed up. It was all a part of your mind. It was all unfolding in mind. So upon waking up, you take this very idealistic perspective. You shift from materialism to idealism, right? So think of the larger mind from this perspective, or the dreamer's mind is the larger mind. Now, I'm not saying that someone is asleep in bed somewhere and is dreaming up this reality. That is not what I'm saying. But open your mind to this possibility that what you call the mind, what you call you, consciousness, does not emerge from the brain, but is prior to the brain. And what you call the brain is simply a representation of mind. And if you stick around with me for this video series, I will be releasing some more videos that go into more detail as to what the brain is and why does it seem like you have your mind with your own feelings and thoughts and emotions, and I have my mind. So what is that? What is that experience like? Right? It still seems like I have my mind and you have your mind. So why does it feel that way, even though I'm saying that mind is prior to the brain? And I'll be going into more detail about what the larger mind is, and I will be explaining mind in terms of its properties and potentials. So stay tuned and do open your mind to this possibility that mind is prior to anything or anyone.